What's up, YouTube? What's up, Twitch? This is BrackCast 70. My bad, I had some technical issues and my audio wasn't working, but I have it working now. Today is BrackCast number 70. I did miss last week. Forgive me for that. I had a wedding to shoot, but I didn't want to miss 2 weeks in a row. DayDay is sick today, but we have Mike here on call, and Dan will be in chat with us. Today we're gonna be reacting to reactions to double standards. You're listening on Discord. Yeah, no, thanks Dan for checking. And lately, because I've been watching a lot of Abba and Preach, usually anyway, every like 5 or 10 BrackCasts, I like to have more of a chill session. But this is BrackCast 70, and I've been watching more of Abba and Preach react to controversial things. You know, people posting things on TikTok or whatever podcast stuff from like Fresh and Fit or Andrew Tate. And this is another YouTuber, MTR. His channel is Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. But lately, I've been seeing him react to a lot more controversial, I will say controversial, content on like TikTok. So we're gonna watch this video where he's reacting to, some woke women getting called out in public for having double standards. And what I was saying earlier when I was still muted was I've noticed that some of these controversial topics, to me, when I'm listening to it, sounds so ridiculous. Like, is it really a double standard these days? Or is it just people, you know, trying to be controversial so they can get attention, or they can get like hits and views and, you know, likes and comments or whatever? So some of these I do think are more like realistic. Yeah, it does sound a lot more like it's real, like it's actually happening. But other clips in this video I thought were just like, obviously she's saying that just for the sake of getting views and getting hits. So anyway, you guys will see. We'll press play, and then we'll react to his reaction to these double standards. Thanks.
Pretty hot, but I just wanted to
guys, I don't got much to say about this before we get started, so let's get right into it. It's a double standards compilation. Put on your seatbelts. Without further ado.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure most people have already seen this video about this guy blowing up because this girl videotaped him and he was hot. And yeah, don't get me wrong, he's pretty hot. But I just wanted to remind you guys about double standards. Like, if a guy were to just film a girl working,
yeah,
he would get comments
creep.
Like, oh my god, he is such a creep. Oh my god, he's a child predator, blah, blah, blah. But if a girl does it, all the girls are like, oh my god, he's so hot. Oh my god. And then they end up finding his Instagram and like stalking him.
It's the same damn thing.
Where he has to literally become famous and is known as this guy from this workplace. Like, just all I'm saying is just look at the double standards that the society has. Just think about it.
Just think about it. That's it. I'll bang with her.
Okay. Mike, did you see that?
Yeah.
First, she's reacting to the post. I believe that the post was probably real, where some girl thought this guy at a shop was good looking, so then starts to record him. Do you believe that would happen? Yeah, right? That would probably happen. Not common, but
I mean, it did happen.
Well,
I guess.
Unless it's fake. Unless, because all we know is this Claudia person reacting to it. We didn't hear the original audio. We don't know what the reason was. She's just reacting to it. For all they know, it could have been someone recording someone they know. But for the benefit of the doubt, okay, yeah, I could see maybe some woman thought, oh, this guy's hot, check it out. Then she posted on her TikTok or Instagram stories. People comment and probably celebrate the fact that she's glorifying this man. And yes, if a man were to do that to a woman, yes, obviously that would be harassment. That's like, what's the word? Like stalking, right? Obvious?
Yeah. It would be creepy.
Obvious.
Inappropriate.
Well, I think you could ask to be left the premises, or you could ask security to, like, I don't know. There's something, definitely it's frowned upon behavior. Do you think a woman, that woman, let's say, if this man, the worker, didn't like being filmed, would he say something? In that scenario, if you were at a store, some girl, you know, before where you used to work, thought you were good looking or whatever, starts to record you, how would you react?
I don't know. I think I'd be creeped out.
Would you say,
I'd
would you
be
say
just
something?
as creeped out. No, well, no, I don't think I'm very non-confrontational when it comes to strangers. So I probably wouldn't say anything.
So you would just,
I mean, if I'm working, someone's filming me.
yeah, would you let,
I
would
don't know
you,
what I would think
would
of
you
it.
not, would you ignore them?
I guess so.
So
I mean, how long? Okay, like there's a point. You like film me for a little bit, but
right, right.
if it goes a little too long, I'll be like, is there something?
So okay, I
going
do
on?
think it's, if you just start filming without permission, obviously yes, I think that's like kind of violating that person's privacy, even though they're working in a public place. Or is it even violating privacy? Like if you go out in public on the street and you're filming people, technically that's allowed, right? As long as you're not using it for commercial purposes. Anyone can film anything. Like even like all these videos you see on TikTok or Instagram where there's like, you know, an arrest happening and then all of a sudden cameras start going up, just filming the cop the whole time, filming the reaction, all that. It's all legal to film. Is this, I guess it's legal to film that worker? If they happen to be there, that's fine.
I mean, if it's probably legal, but it's like, I guess the issue that they're talking about is it morally right?
Yeah.
Like, how does society view this act? I guess is
Okay,
what
let's just
they're
imagine that
trying to get
that
at.
guy is one of us, or us. I'm working. I notice this woman is taking a video of me. I would look up. I'm just imagining it. Be like, "Hi, miss, can I help you?" Because I'm working, right? You got to be professional. And then whatever she might have said. Oh, don't worry. I'm like, and then maybe like, "Are you recording?" Or like, yeah, I could obviously see the camera pointing at me, so I'm like, or the phone. I'd be like, "Are you recording right now?" She lies or not. Let's just say she tells the truth. She says, "Yes." I'm like, "Why?" And if she says, "'Cause I think you're hot." I'm just putting myself in that position, and I'd probably smile a little bit. I would
Like,
take it
thank
as
you.
a comp. Yeah, I take it as a comp. I wouldn't be creeped out. Maybe. I guess again, it also depends, just like anything else. How does the person recording me look like? If it was some like big man in a trench coat, I'd be like, "Why?" and I'd not be. And then he says I'm hot. Maybe I won't be as receptive to that. But if it's some young woman, whoever it is, I don't know who it is. We don't know who's recording. You'd probably
So
smile.
if the woman was hot, you'd be like, oh, thank you. But if she was
Exactly.
ugly, you'd be like,
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah. Right. So it makes it, if it makes a difference, right? So we go back to this guy's face. I think he noticed. Hold on. It was a very quick clip, and it doesn't even show. Doesn't he? Okay, so does he look?
I've already seen this video about this guy blowing up
So
because
he's
this girl
opening it,
videotaped
he's
him and he
closing
was
the
hot. And yeah,
box.
don't get me wrong, he's pretty
He
hot.
looks up,
But I
and then the camera went down. What is this? This isn't caught. Nabs, this is my podcast every week on Thursdays. So he just looks down, and it looks like maybe the camera was brought down right away, right? Maybe, and then she probably posted it on her TikTok. Nabs, if you haven't seen it again, this is the clip again.
A deal.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure most people have already seen this video about this guy blowing up because this girl videotaped him and he was hot. And yeah, don't get me wrong, he's pretty hot. But I just wanted to remind you guys about double standards.
So she's filming him. He notices. She hides the phone. Probably posted it on her TikTok or something like, "This guy's hot." And then maybe the comments started blasting. I can see that happening. So she put it, let's just say, for the sake of the video, she put down her phone. So if a guy did that too, starts filming a woman that he thinks is good looking or hot, and then the woman looks over, hides the phone. If that man, were to post it on his TikTok and be like, yo, this woman's hot, and then all the comments, yes, creep. Everyone will call that guy a creep. This girl posted it on her TikTok, and probably, I can see, probably a lot of the women are like, wow, he is, or just actually reacting to the content that she posted, right? Is that, I'm assuming this is what she's reacting to. This girl was celebrated at how hot this guy was, and she shared it. Are we reacting to the fact that just the double standard part, or the filming at all? You know what I'm saying? Mikey's
I
still
don't
there.
know. For me, it's like, she's just pointing out the double standard.
Mhm.
It's just the way it is right now. I mean, it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, we can see that if women commented on her video on her TikTok saying, yeah, that guy's hot, only looking at how hot the guy was, we know that if it was reversed, that's not what would happen if a man posted a video about a woman. It's just obvious, right? Is there
Yeah.
anything shocking here? No. Do we anticipate that to change? Is that going to change anytime soon?
should it change?
Should it change? Does it have to change?
Yeah.
Like we're just
That's probably the
reacting.
question. Like,
Yeah.
how big of a double standard is
How
this?
big of an
Is
issue
it
is
worth
this? Yeah,
changing?
okay. It's not the same. It's, again, we've already agreed. Both of them are inappropriate. You're filming somebody without consent. And
Yeah,
for
but
this-
one is considered more invasive than the other.
Mhm.
Or like one is more of a wrong thing to do than the other.
Yes.
So the question is why? Why is it like that? Not
Exactly.
like there's a double standard. It isn't inappropriate for a guy
Clearly.
to do that, but
Yeah.
but why is it that way?
Yeah.
Or why do you think that why do you think it is that way?
Her she just says society. Her last comment was just
Like if a guy or girl does it, all the girls are like, oh my god, he's so hot, oh my god, and then they end up finding his Instagram and like stalking him
Yeah.
to
the same damn thing.
where
Yes.
he has to literally become famous and is known as this guy from this workplace. Like, just all I'm saying is just look at the double standards
That's all she
that
said.
this society has.
And no
Yeah.
opinion.
Just think about it.
See, no opinion. And that's what bothered me about that part of the video is like, so what are you saying? You're just observing it and it's obvious. So what's actually her opinion? Should it stop? Should it not?
Shouldn't. Well,
See,
I think it's too much to
again,
ask for that to stop.
if the-
I think if you think about why it is the way it is,
Mhm.
then I mean, first of all, how big of an issue is this really? Like, how? I mean, like, okay, though that's why I'm asking why. Why is it the way it is now? Because
Mhm.
if a guy does it to a girl, there's more risk there. If a
Yeah.
girl does it to a guy, there's less risk there. Right?
So I'd say, okay, you're asking why? Why has it come to this? And I think because
Why has it come to this? I'm saying, why is it that way?
yes,
Why is there a
Mhm.
double standard?
And
Not like,
I'm gonna say because in history, like the men as the dominant form was more regarded as the predator, and the women in history, being the less dominant form, has always been looked at as a possible victim. So same action is being deployed here, but through history, we've been conditioned to just look at the men as predatory, but the women as victims. And that's just like conditioning. I don't think like society today has put us here. Like no one was at fault where we have this like understanding of why it's bad if a man did it, but why it's okay when the woman does it. It's like celebrated. Like this guy, she said these women might be stalking his Instagram now or finding him and giving him praise for how hot he is. Do you think he's gonna feel in danger? I don't think so. Look at the guy. Like, he was a big buff guy working at Foot Locker. A bunch of women are saying how hot he is. Don't you think he'd celebrate that? Maybe not. Probably majority of the time the guy would celebrate it. Be like, yeah, look, check it out. I went viral. This girl thought I was hot, posted a video of me on her TikTok. Now everyone thinks I'm hot. He'd probably be happy about it. If it was a woman, no. She'd feel her privacy was invaded, like, and she was disrespected and all that stuff. So, like, why? Just history. Like, that's what brought us here. Does it have to change? I don't necessarily think so, because it comes down to the person being recorded and how they react. If the guy reacts and thinks his privacy was invaded, he didn't want any of that to happen, same then, he's a victim. Then people would react with, like, they'd, like, what's the word? They'd criticize the person filming him. It would be bad. If he was not upset and he was happy about it, there's nothing to criticize then. It worked out in everyone's favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah,
this reaction to it. That's why this podcast is reacting to reactions. Is just for the sake of, like, drawing some sort of, like, controversy, but then not having an actual opinion. All she says at the end is, look at the double standard. And look, even look at the way this guy reacts too. Like, this is his reaction.
Just think about it. That's it. I bang with her.
You already said you.
But see, he didn't even say anything either. So it was like, I just thought it was, like, empty. Like, what did we look at that for? I don't think I wasted my, like, 30 seconds or anything like that. But there was nothing really there to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there is a double. It's like they acknowledge there's a double standard, but it's not worth changing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a double standard that's worth bothering.
Well,
worth.
Yeah. The title says woke women getting called out in public for having double standards. I don't necessarily think the person who was filming that man was some, like, woke, new modern women feminist or something like that. I don't think it was anything about that. She just acted on impulse because she was attracted to somebody, took the video, and that's it. And I guess based on the reactions to her video, we can see the double standard. And that's it.
Yeah.
Oh well. It's like,
yeah.
If it was a woman, and the woman, let's say, reverse it, a woman was working, this guy says, I'm filming you because you're hot, but hides the phone, posts it online. A bunch of men start saying, yeah, yo, this girl, she's fine, or whatever like that. If she reacts positively and says thank you to everybody in the comments, then it's not an issue. But if she, I think it's not necessarily a double standard. It's very much just dependent on how the person being filmed reacts. It could be very individual. It doesn't have to be a man or a woman. It's just dependent on how they react.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a double standard. Because if the guy,
I mean, it is because it is because you expect, like,
we expect that
the
kind
norm,
of reaction.
the norm of what people think is appropriate is different.
Well,
regardless of how they react, what's appropriate is, or what's not appropriate, it's different for both. What's seen as not appropriate is different for both sexes, and that's the double standard, correct?
Okay, well, my question, YouTube, I don't know. I'm sure we've all seen videos of track and field Olympic athletes doing their event, and some of them are, like, running long jump, pole vault, high jump, sprinting, whatever it is, and then they're women, and they're doing close-ups and stuff after they jump, slow motions and all this. You know what videos I'm talking about, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, and for anyone who
pole
doesn't
vaulter.
know, yeah, pole vaults, running long jump, high jump, and there's obviously with these, like, ESPN Olympic coverage, they're zooming in on parts of them, on, like, it's in like high definition, super slow motion. Even when they turn around, you see their butt, you see all their like body features. And this is the video that's posted online. And then, did you ever read the comments? Have you ever seen the comments to those videos?
What do the comments say?
Mainly men. I'm gonna say
Saying
the
they're
vast
hot?
majority are men, and they're all saying "men of culture unite," like this like sarcastic thing of men of culture. And like one of the comments you see is something like, "I'll stand behind her and her sport any day," or like those like cheap kind of jabs of like sarcasm jokes, like, oh, she's very a lot of sarcasm in the comments. Like someone's like, oh, like she's a very beautiful athlete. Some people will be a bit more like direct of like, oh, she's beautiful, whatever. No one actually ever really just says she's hot or whatever. Most of the comments is just some sort of sarcastic remark that like references a body part of hers.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll be like, what event was that? Or something, they'll be like, I don't know what event that was, but I stand behind her. Something like that, like.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, again, a post about a woman's body who's regarded as generally attractive, and all the comments are men celebrating it. And is that something we expect? Or is it something that
expect?
Well, yeah, it's a
I mean,
standard, right?
I mean, that's clearly inappropriate.
It's inappropriate too. So was the other one inappropriate too? This woman who posted on her Instagram or TikTok, and then the women celebrate it. It's still inappropriate, right?
Well, if they were like, if they were doing that to men, like showing LeBron's chest and arms and stuff when he plays basketball.
Yeah, any athlete, But instead, there's videos of like Brad Pitt, Michael B. Jordan, or Ryan Reynolds,
and it's okay.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
All these women on the comments are just going to talk about if they're looking at their abs or their chest or their back or whatever, are talking about how hot they are. Right?
Yeah.
That's what's expected. I guess that's the standard. When you see a content that's made to just like objectify the person in the video, you get that kind of reaction. But it happens to both males and females. So where's the double standard?
Well, if it's for like, well, I'm trying to think of what the difference is for both and why there is, because in the sports case, she's trying to do a sport. She wants to be known for doing the sport, right? If you're talking about Brad Pitt and Michael B. Jordan, they want to be known as being, I don't know, good actors. Well, there's good actors, but they're also, girls like them, and that's why they're famous, and they benefit from that.
Okay.
Like, if you're a woman in sports and want to be at like the top of your game, yeah, you can benefit from being hot. You can be a model. But what if their goal is to be really good at sports, and all people do is objectify you and think of you as this hot person?
I
so
get
in
it.
those two examples, it's like
they're not the equal examples though. Yeah, one celebrity wanting to get that kind of attention, the other one's an athlete wanting to be recognized as an athlete.
Like if it was LeBron and all women, and we're talking only about his looks and not about how fucking amazing he is at basketball, then that's the issue, right?
Yeah. Okay. Dan says, I think these issues were always there. Just social media amplifies what's always been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Like, I think, because everyone in here, as in BrackCast, is sensible. Like, we're respectful, sensible people. We see the wrong in putting someone up, in objectifying them strictly for the sake of how they look and not recognizing, whatever responsibility or sport or whatever they do. So, yeah. This first example we've spent a lot of time on, and I don't think we probably need to spend
yeah, we can move on.
I'm
like, sure there's better.
Yeah. So here's the next one. It's okay for a woman to punch a man because it's not going to hurt him. Like, yeah, I think we all say no automatically. Like, that's the heading. And yeah, you'll see these people react to this woman.
abusive. So
I like hitting.
Why is that?
why? Okay.
You don't want no soft.
That I don't know.
Oh,
So that's why y'all
of
like
course.
Yeah.
I don't even.
But how
Fucking
did,
up.
so you so he can hit you back?
No.
So you,
me?
If you hit me back, we're fighting him.
So you can me, but
so you not winning that battle now.
Listen, I'm kicking your. I'm not playing. I'm doing everything. We punch you with something. It's not gonna hurt.
that didn't look like it hurt. That video,
He was about to cry.
Nah,
he said
like-
this, and his eyes is watering.
But
Wow. So wait.
first of all, nobody's doing all that. I'm sorry. You got to get dragged to something. It's not.
So he should have dragged her.
Yes. He could put something calm. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy.
For a guy that is
Hold on, let me just talk about this one real quick because I actually did a reaction to Daily Wrap-Up Crew about those two young ladies right there. I didn't realize that their degree of hood booger was to that level and or extent, like the idea of I like to hit dudes. That's not funny. And Daily Wrap-Up Crew, I don't think y'all should be laughing when they're saying things like that. Like I know it's a way to entertain a conversation in order to continue the entertainment value. But at some point, there has to come a time where littler people shouldn't feel as though they can hit you because they're littler than you, irrespective of gender. The only reason why they do that is because there's a system put in place to protect them and to judge that the bigger person, the man, is going to be the aggressor.
Okay. Did you see all that, Mike?
Yeah.
Obvious already?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
matter to
he's
matter?
explaining it. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's explaining it.
Explaining it like how we would all think. Yeah. Doesn't matter if you're big or small, man or woman, can't hit anybody. Do we?
I think there's an issue there with them too, right? You know, if they think it's okay
Yeah, those individuals, right?
and they're okay with being choked. And some people are into that, but
But that okay. In that scenario, that's a different setting, though. I think what they're saying is in an argument, like in outside of sexual bedroom behavior, outside of the choking and the slapping and whatever like that. Because, hey, some guys out there are also into what, BDSM? Is that what it's called? I don't know.
yeah.
Where they
Whatever-
the
whatever
whips
that
and
is.
whatever. I don't know. So yeah, men are into it too, but outside the bedroom, it's not like they just always want to get physically abused. And I think what they're just saying here is in an argument, if a woman gets angry, she can hit him, but the man can't do that. Do all women think this? I don't think so. I don't necessarily think this is a society double
What?
standard.
no.
Yeah, exactly.
No, not all women think this.
Yeah, I don't think it's an woke women. I don't think those two individuals trying to defend this physical abuse are woke women either. Like,
I think a lot of women think that though.
that it's okay to hit a man? Are they really?
Yeah, well, just like how that guy explained, they think they're protected by the societal norms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they think that, they can do
Like that
it,
they're not
and they
just-
think it benefits the guy, but it doesn't.
What benefits?
It's
the guy?
abuse, right? Like it toughens them up. That's what she's saying, right?
Okay. But if you for to call it a double standard, though, it means that they would be judged differently. But I'm assuming court, they would both lose. Whoever's using physical abuse in that manner, the judge isn't gonna be like, oh, it's okay because you're a woman. The judge, like the legal system's not gonna judge it differently. I don't necessarily consider this a double standard. It's a poor choice in her mind. I don't think though that society looks at this and accepts it as normal behavior. For it to be called a standard, that means it's normal behavior. But I don't think women think that normally. These women do, but I don't know if all women do or majority of women do. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway. Too much abuse happening in the world, both physically and mentally, from both genders, but we don't need to be put into positions that's continuing the menace to our society. Challenge them. Plus, you'll get better content out of it. And to all the dudes, I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you have a young lady that hits you, even if it's playful, communicate to her that you will not stand for it and not tolerate that shit, because I guarantee you what is playful in jest will be used as aggressiveness when they get comfortable. Let's move on.
is in a relationship to be interested in other girls, that's just cheating. But if a girl who's in a relationship becomes interested in another guy, it often means that
she's not getting what she needs to get from that relationship.
Are her parents brother and sister? Please leave now.
Oh, now I get it. She's a moron.
Emotional damage.
Whoever put this together is a goddamn comedic genius. Women like this refuse to take accountability.
Yeah.
These videos are too easy.
Yeah. Like, clearly.
Okay. Let's find a hard one.
Like, I guess, are we looking for controversy, or it's just? But that's Alinity. You know who that is, right?
No.
Okay.
No,
Alinity is a streamer. She's the one who's been like banned so many times, like trying to take advantage of, like, accidentally slips her boobs or her like cooch on screen, and then she'll pretend like oops, whatever. But obviously, because she knows it's gonna draw in more people to her channel. One time in her channel, she admitted that she lied to this Canadian man. She's from like Central America. She's from like I think she's Puerto Rican or something like that. She wanted to come to Canada, so she pretended to be in love with this man, and they married, and then she moved to Canada, and then like 4 months later divorced him, and she said this on her stream. Right? And like, yeah, he could have gone after her or whatever like that, but to this day she's still streaming on Twitch. She's still one of the bigger ones. But anyway, I recognize her there. I guess if you don't recognize her there, you just think like this is some random woman saying her piece. Right. Obviously, no. Do a lot of women think that? Maybe a lot do, but do we respect those kind of women? Like,
No.
I don't think I would associate with a woman who thinks that way. It's like, really?
Yeah.
It's like, that's not cool. I
mean, what she did to that guy already is.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay, so he's gonna react.
What a
Ability
dumb
in
dude.
every and all situations put together. Okay, so it's the man's fault if he cheats, and it's the man's fault if she cheats. Ridiculous.
Well, this double standard when men say to their friends like, hey man, I can't go because there's too many girls there and my girlfriend is uncomfortable. The guys are like, yeah, cool, no problem. But when a girl says to her friends, hey, I can't go because my boyfriend says that there's too many guys there and he's uncomfortable, all of a sudden the friends are always like, he's so controlling, what's wrong with that? It's the same with the cell phones. If a guy goes through a girl's phone, all of a sudden he's controlling. But when a girl goes through it, then she's investigating and she's the FBI, and it's perfectly normal.
Yeah, I think it's both. I don't really see this happening out in real life. Like if my boy tells me, bro, I can't go because there's just too many girls there, I'm gonna look at him like he's motherfucking crazy. Look at him like he's goddamn crazy.
Yeah, it's the same both ways.
Can't.
Yeah, it's the same both ways. So I don't think it's a double standard.
Next.
I do think with the with the controlling, I mean, yeah, we're gonna look at it the same way. We'll look at it the same way. It's not a double standard. Anyway.
And live your God-given free life because of her? She's a tyrant. Get out of there. You catch your lady on porn.
Well, when you don't get none at home, that's how you have to do.
Oh, gross.
Even on my TikTok.
Okay.
The gross there is that he's recording that and he puts it on his TikTok. I think that's foul.
Was there anything there? No, right?
Oh, is there anything there? Yeah.
Catch a man
Whatever.
watching porn, catch a woman watching porn. Same kind of reaction. I don't think there's any kind of like, oh, it's okay that a woman does it, but a man. No, it's all like, it's going to be the same reaction either way. I don't think it's a double standard. It's another one.
Okay.
So, whatever.
If men were to work in a fast food restaurant, we'd be looked down on. But if a woman does it, they're independent and they're praised for it. If a man is down in the gutter, he's broke, he ain't got a ride right now, he's trying his hardest to save money and do things for himself, he's a bum. But if a woman's broke and she's struggling and she's trying her hardest to do things, she's strong, she's independent, she's brave. If a man's overweight, we're lazy, we don't do shit, we don't like to exercise. But if a woman's overweight, she's praised for her beauty and she's perfect in every single way. If a man was to cheat, we'd be dogs. we'd be a disgusting person. We'd be nasty. But if women were to cheat, they were brave. They got out of that situation. They have all these reasons to cheat, and everybody backs them. If a man don't want to date you, and he just wants something casual and go on dates with other people, we're looked at as fuckboys. We're looked at as dogs. But if women do it, they're just trying to find themselves. Do you see the
Exploring their options. Yep.
Okay.
I think the last one's a real double standard.
Yes. There are a couple of the ones he said I would like. I see what he's saying. Like the overweight one.
I mean, people talk shit about fat girls all the time too.
Yes. So the thing is, like the whole body shaming thing, right?
Yeah.
So
everyone gets body shamed. Come on.
yeah, both ways, right? Like, I guess for a man though, you're never gonna be. I don't know. Can you think of a big dude who, you know, says something insecure about his body, and then men react to him and be like, "Don't worry, man. Like, feel comfortable in your body. Like, you should, you know." I think generally all men are gonna push to be more like physically fit. It's just like a health thing. It's also just like better lifestyle overall. Like, you live longer, it's better health or whatever like that. But then on the women's side, yeah, there's still body shaming, like I said, but you do have that portion of the population that's gonna be like big, like praising the big woman body. Like, there is no beauty standard now. Like, beauty back then used to be the skinny models, long leg, tall type, but now beauty is in all these different shapes and sizes. Yes, that's what I mean. Like, it's not. You're right. We'll still body shame both ways. I mean, it happens both directions. But in general, you're gonna get that sympathy side with the women, like to empower, to be comfortable in your own body. But you don't get that in men, on the men's side. There is no like sympathy at all. It's like, well, man, if you're unhappy, fix it. But if you're proud in your body, no one's really gonna talk about it unless he uses it. Like he uses it as an excuse for something. You know what I mean? So that's what I see there. I do kind of still see that. But you're right. I think bottom line, it's not a beauty thing. If we're looking at it in terms of beauty, it's always individual. Someone might be into big size, either men or women. Some people might just be into that. I know there are. But I guess the norm, standard, everyone is more generally attracted to someone who is in a healthier fit shape, generally.
Yeah.
So you were saying though about which one?
Whatever the last one was.
What was the last one? Dating around, not looking to tie down. So a guy's a fuck boy, but the girl is just seeing her options.
Oh, okay. What?
No. He didn't say slut. He said she's just
something casual and go on dates with other people. We're looked at as fuckboys. We're looked at as dogs. But if women do it,
I guess
they're
you
just
see
trying
both
to find
sides. No,
themselves.
then
Do you see the
double standard. If I think of it a different way,
yeah,
you can see it both ways. So maybe it's not a double standard.
But both ways for the man too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of dudes who don't want a long-term relationship, but they're still dating. They're transparent about it too. If you're transparent about it with your partner, then you're not a fuckboy. You're literally being honest. Like, hey, dating right now, not looking to settle down or get married. I'm just kind of like, you know, seeing what's out there. Both men and women do that. I don't necessarily think.
Okay, maybe it's not a double standard.
Yeah.
I just thought they were talking about like how many people like if a guy sleeps with a lot of girls and it's looked at as
a
good thing, and then when a girl,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's the double standard that I thought.
I agree with that though.
He's trying to think of it a different way. Well, if he thinks of it that way, then it's not really a double standard. You could see it both ways.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's listen to his reaction.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We just put.
Okay, that's all he says.
Ridiculous.
The number of sex partners. Do you still think that's norm?
What's norm?
Like, I can see that what you're saying, yeah. From what we see in movies, like college guys, how many guys, the jocks, how many girls the jock sleeps with. He's celebrated for like he was able to sleep with so many women, right? That's what we see in movies. But do we really think that? Do you celebrate a guy who slept with 50 to 100 women? I
Do
don't.
I? No.
Yeah, I don't, and I don't think you would either. I don't think anybody in our friend circle would be like, yeah, wow, that guy's amazing. I don't react that way. Maybe when I was younger, and if you're in high school, you're a virgin, and you find out about these guys who's lost their virginity and they're sleeping around. Yeah, there's that complex of like envy. You think they're cool, like why is it that they're getting all these girls but I'm not? That's different. But if we're thinking in like a societal standard in terms of like when we're all adults, I think it's just generally frowned upon when you just kind of get around that much, right?
Some people don't think it's a bad thing.
Yes, when you look at guys like Fresh and Fit or Andrew Tate, these other dudes who, or even maybe Kevin Samuels, was that the guy?
Uh-huh.
Do you think he would have celebrated the number? Is it the number you're talking about?
Okay, I don't think they celebrate the number. I don't think they count like, oh, I got 50.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I think it's more like
It wasn't
their success with
Yes.
how much
easy it
women
is
they
for
can
them.
be with.
Yeah, how easy it is for them to get it, not necessarily how many.
Yeah.
And Dan says depends on how people view sex. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Anyway, that exact example actually comes up later in this video. So
Small weenies on the basketball boys' cars because they have no glizzy.
What?
Whoa. No one's gonna point out the double standard here? Allow me. Imagine if a bunch of boys from the football team barely filled up some balloons and tied it to the girls' cars because they don't have no chest. Or maybe they hung air freshener trees because the girls have smelly vaginas. What?
Or if they spread some butter on their trunks as to talk about how unviscous their innards are. I blame popularized media for this one. They've made the idea of talking about a man's member as normal as talking about dating itself.
Oh, hold the phone. The girls would have clutched their pearls, said that this was misogynistic,
Big true.
sexist, offensive. You know, it is 2020. Oh my God, these boys would have been crucified.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm lying.
Expelled.
These boys would have been suspended, charged with harassment. The entire
Yes.
situation would have been investigated as a hate crime. They'd have to pay restitution for
Probably sex offender.
vandalism. And last but not least, they probably wound up on a sex offender registry. Tell
Boom.
me I'm wrong.
He nailing it.
Let me get that follow if I'm right.
Double standards.
okay, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Do you really think though all we see is the woman or the girl talking about putting Vienna sausages on their car,
Okay.
thinking it's cool. We automatically would think that's not cool. Like, that's not funny. What do you think was the repercussion of her doing that?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure she got in trouble for it. They all got in trouble for it. Will they be
Yeah, why not, man?
considered sex
They
offenders?
vandalized some guy's car.
Yeah, it would still be she'd still be persecuted for it, whatever. Probably won't be put on the sex offender list. But the guys, again, they're not gonna be like. I'm assuming these are jocks, whatever. Do we anticipate that they're gonna be, so self-conscious about their dick size after, where they're gonna be like ashamed and like hide from the school and stuff and be embarrassed about what they're doing? Do you think they're as sensitive? Is it about sensitivity?
You mean why it's okay, why it's not that bad if she does it then?
I'm not
the
talking.
guy?
It's bad. It's still vandalism, and she went after something with regards to their anatomy, right? Like just their body. I look at that; it's already wrong. I'm not celebrating it all. I don't think anybody celebrated what she did.
Yeah.
But it's like we're comparing the poor decisions of this young woman and calling it a standard, but it's not. She's making a poor decision as an individual.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think the society is like, oh yeah, we're allowing that to happen, but we're not gonna allow men to do it. No, we don't. We don't allow.
Oh, I
any
think
of
the point,
Yeah.
the point that the guy is saying is the repercussions after.
Mm-hmm.
So guys
But they both get in trouble.
would suffer. Yeah, they both get in trouble.
Yeah.
But the guys would suffer a heavier loss. Like they would get in more trouble than a girl would.
Do you think guys do that?
Yeah,
I mean,
guys would do- I don't know. High school. I'm sure there's someone in high school. Like, there's some weird shit that guys do in high school because
to make fun of like
anyone.
Yeah,
To make fun of
okay.
anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah.
Okay, so just severity of punishment. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Are unreal.
So let me make sure I
Whoa. Hold on. I didn't get a chance to read it. Let's go back, guys. Imagine thinking it's sweet enough to play with my kids. This looks like it's coming from the baby. And then, boom, I whip out and burn your ass in front of everybody and walk away with the straight face. Let this fame shit fool you into thinking I'm not living and dying for all minds. Ain't shit changed. First, one of y'all I catch playing in person. I'm doing you that. So y'all niggas be safe. Daddy, love you, baby. Can't wait to put a boyfriend on a t-shirt. I can't believe that this is a famous person that represents a component of my community. You know, it is what it is, though. Some of you guys.
Do you understand what that post is saying? I don't. I really got lost. Do you know? I really don't know.
I have no idea, man.
I don't know what he's referring to. Apparently he understands, but we'll see. Okay, wait. Imagine thinking it's sweet enough to play with my kids. And then boom, I whip out and burn your ass in front of everybody and walk away with a straight face. Let this fame fool you into thinking I'm not living and dying for all minds. Ain't shit changed. The first one of y'all I catch playing in person, I'm doing you dat. I don't get it. I'm so lost.
Okay, keep it going.
You guys might look at posts like this and be like, yeah, I do this for my daughter and shit like that as well. Shut up. Why would you put this in a post for your daughter to one day find, as if this is a correct way to conduct and to handle yourself in society with other functioning adults and people? The fact that men emulate this shit and the idea that women think that this is masculine behavior makes me sick to my stomach. I think it should be put into question how a person conducts themselves, whether or not they're going to be an actual good father to their son or daughter. But let's see what she has to say.
So let me make sure I got this straight. So y'all dudes can get online every day, promote toxic behavior when it comes to dealing with women, tell other men how not to respect women, show men how to play women, but then when it comes to your daughters, they are supposed to be the exceptions to the rule. Like, they supposed to get treated like princesses and queens while everybody else's daughters get dogged out, cheated on, and become baby mamas.
Whoa.
Is that where we at?
Big logic.
Because I'm trying to understand how that works. If you promote a bunch of toxic behavior through your music and you promote men not respecting women, you even get online and disrespect another man's daughter on your live, but then when it comes to your daughter, men will get put on a t-shirt. How exactly does that work? Because in my mind, logically, it sounds like the same men that you're helping to create
I love her.
will be the same men that your daughters will have to choose from. But that's just logic. I don't know.
Big
Maybe I'm
logic.
tripping it.
Oh, she passed math class back in the day.
Thoughts? I guess I missed that in the original post.
Yeah, they explain it pretty well.
Yeah, his music, hoes and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, obvious.
How much do you think I weigh?
Probably like 200, I'd say.
200 what? Pounds? You think look at me, like...
He's negging.
He's negging. Interesting.
He can't be serious. He's literally just saying that to lower her confidence, thinking it'll help his chances with her. I thought he was complimenting you at first. He definitely just messing with her. There was no way he's serious. If he's serious, I'm out. If he's 200, she's 80.
Six-pack or dad bod?
Dad bod for sure.
Okay, so not me then.
You don't think you have a dad bod?
I have a
She's
six-pack.
negging too.
You think you have a six-pack?
Yeah.
She's tripping.
She's
She
naked
woke
too,
up
yeah.
today and chose to gaslight him. My respect for this girl. She hit his ego and he got mad. She humbled him. She did everything right in the situation. I love her. Humble him. Wow. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. If that's not double standards.
So we're looking at the fact that when he did it to the girl, everyone defended the girl. But
Yeah.
when she did it to the guy, everyone backed her up.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
It's the same though.
I don't know,
I
man.
mean, shows on the comments, man.
I know the comments, but we have our own thoughts. The first guy,
Yeah.
when a girl's asking for random people to rate her, how do we feel about that?
Oh man. What do you mean? How do we feel about that?
Well, the guy's like dad bod or six pack. That was his question, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't even like. Then she answers dad bod, and then he said, "So not me, right?" So now he's directing the question towards himself to be evaluated, and then yeah. She humbled him. This guy, right off the bat, how much do you think I weigh? So
That's a really first of all, that's like a trap question.
of course, yes. So he chose.
So you have to.
Yeah.
If that was me, I would say the same thing. It's because she knows
You
how
would've
much
said-
she weighs.
You would have said 200. You would have.
It's better. Well, yeah, you say it, but sarcastically. You know what I mean? It's
Okay. Like you wouldn't try to guess it correctly.
Yeah, because it's impossible. It's a terrible game to play. So you either do that or you just don't even try, or say something completely like.
Would you go like super low or super high? Like I get that sometimes with age. Like guess how old I am, and I'm like way off.
You know what? I think the best thing is to not even play the game, man. Don't even.
Okay.
Don't even bother. I would. If it was me. Okay, if you were to have to answer it, you would just go high and make it a joke, or because you can't go low and make it a joke, because then they're gonna think they're fat, right?
Okay. Well, muscle weighs more than fat.
So you have to
can
just.
easily say that.
Yeah. That's. There's only two ways to answer that question. You either like overestimate, or you just don't even bother and be like, "That's a trap question." You just point out it's a trap question.
Okay, Dan says it wasn't a rate. It was asking her weight. Dan says, "LOL,
Yeah.
pass."
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I've seen posts like that before, like, and we only saw the one clip of the man answering. But if you think about the theme of that, she asks a bunch of people the same question. She would go to a bunch of strangers, men, maybe even women too, and ask all the same question. So it's all about, her content is all about, look at me, what do you think about me? We're only seeing the one clip, and that's the only thing we're judging, right? And that's the only thing we see comments about. But I look at that behavior of like, hey, look at my content. Everything's about rate how I look. And, you know, you're right. You would just pass. Dan would just pass, not even play the game. He decided to take it more of like a humbling, like, oh, let's humble her or whatever. The people commenting, I don't necessarily think that's all. Would you have commented similarly to the comments on that they shared? I don't think so. You wouldn't have like,
No.
You wouldn't have been like, how dare he?
This is not my kind of content. But
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I
So-
won't even comment.
Yeah, I don't comment on stuff like that. Usually people with, I don't look at the comments and like, especially if the content itself is made to be controversial. The more vocal people tend to be the ones I don't agree with.
If I were to think about the two videos, the video with the girl, dad bod, and six pack, she could say six pack and it would still be okay. You know what I mean?
Because it's her preference.
But if
Yeah.
the guy,
What you're talking about is
yeah,
her
if
preference,
you're asking him to answer the weight, he'll almost always be wrong. There's only one answer out of
Yeah.
an infinite amount of choices. The other one, you only have to choose two, and you know what I mean? And either answer is not too bad. But if you're thinking about weight, it's like there's a lot more wrong answers than the two right answers that
Okay.
you could get away with.
I'm glad you said that then, because I don't think the comparison is fair. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not an
That's
equal
not a-
like,
yeah.
hey, look at this
Yeah.
and look at this. The genders were reversed. Look at the reactions. that wasn't the scenario. They were actually very different scenarios, right?
Yeah. But that's nitpicking. I get what they're trying to get across though.
And like, if she asked, gym bod or like, you know, skinny or gym bod, that would have been similar, right? Because he was dad
Yeah.
bod and six pack.
That would have been better.
If she asked
question.
gym body or skinny, that is, and then if the person said skinny,
Then you could say fat chicks.
yeah, or that, yeah. Anyway, so I don't think it's a fair comparison. You can't make a comparison that's not equal and say it's double standard because it's not a fair comparison. Anyway.
Yeah, man. Can't even choose fat chicks.
Yeah. Some people would.
I love the internet just for the explicit reason that it just demonstrates the bullshit that we tell y'all about. Shout out to Sister Shahrazad Ali. If she wrote that book at a time where you can pull out direct examples and show people, no, this is actually happening. Like, oh man, she wrote that book in the wrong decade. I mean, it was the right decade to write something for sure, but imagine her writing something like that today with all of the... If your man goes to a party, gets super drunk, and has sex with a sober girl, was he raped or was he cheating?
Hey, Lonnie, come here real quick.
Okay.
I got a question, okay?
Yeah.
If a girl is really drunk, right,
Mhm.
and a sober dude has sex with her, he raped her, right?
Right.
Okay, right, we agree. Now, if you had a boyfriend, right,
Mhm.
and he got super drunk and had sex with a sober girl,
Mhm.
was he raped or did he cheat?
He cheated.
But you just said, hold on, but you just said double standards, y'all.
No, no, no,
double
no.
standards.
I'd be like,
It
damn.
do it.
Why y'all be
What do you think? What do you think? Did you see that, Mike?
Yeah.
What are we thinking?
Did he say if it was a girlfriend and she got drunk and she had sex with a sober guy?
So his first example was, a drunk girl has sex with a sober guy, no relationship involved.
Oh, so then the premise is not fair.
Exactly, right from the beginning, because he attached like a personal relation to
The second.
the second
Okay.
one to assume like there's a sense of trust there,
Yeah.
right? Let's say he didn't attach the boyfriend part, and he just reversed the gender. What are we thinking?
Okay. Well, if it's rape, if the guy did not want to.
Consent, right? We have to involve consent. But
Yeah.
we're saying though that if a guy's drunk and still consents to it, because he's still active about it, right? So is the first one necessarily rape? Maybe I can't say that on Twitch, my bad, if that's TOS. But is the first one necessarily grape?
Grapes. Wait, what?
Okay, the first scenario, guy is sober, girl is drunk.
Okay.
They have sex.
It's consent. It's about consent.
It's
Then
consent.
that's why all these things are like really vague, because
Yeah.
you can say anything afterward. It's he said, she said.
Exactly.
But
So-
if we were to say she didn't want to, then yeah, that was right. Yeah,
Well,
this is what it is.
let's just
Same with the
say-
guy. If the guy did not want to, then it's rape.
Exactly. So that girl, let's say the first one in the first example, he says she's drunk, the guy is sober, and they have sex. If the girl had a boyfriend,
Then that's cheating.
it's cheating to him too, even if it was grape. Or is it not?
What?
But-
No, because
well,
then if you put the consent there,
If it's consent, but that's what they're trying to say though. When you're drunk, you can't give informed consent. You're intoxicated. You're not all there. You're not 100% like responsible or like.
if the premise was exactly the same for both,
Mhm.
then there wouldn't be there's no double standard.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, because one of them we are attaching consent. The other one is strictly like plain no relationship involved. It's like Dan saying, I think the double standard is, even if there is consent, it will be viewed as the example. What is, I don't know what that means, Dan. I don't know what you meant by that. But yes, let's say no relationship. drunk girl or guy is with sober girl or guy and they have sex, if we assume that they still had enough informed consent on both scenarios, it's fine. If we assume that in both scenarios they did not have consent, then it's both of them are great.
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds about right.
So dancing.
Sounds about right.
Auto mod held in message for reason sex-based terms. Let's allow. One will be viewed as grape and the other as cheating. What? Oh, do you mean all things equal, Dan, or are all things equal? Anyway, we'll I think we kind of all agree already. Let's just move on.
Be lying about body count.
Go ahead. I feel like.
Shout out T Pen
What are
down.
you worrying about dead people for? That's whatever I did in my past is my past. Whatever is present is present. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Dan says he thinks society would view it that way even with consent. I don't know. What do you think?
They could. That's society. But if we were to think in an ideal world and we know for sure that there was consent or not,
yeah,
then we know what the answer is.
Like, you talk to the girl.
Then a girl or a guy, like if, okay, the double standard is that a double standard?
Well, let's say next day.
Like if the girl were to just to lie, then anyone can believe her. But if the guy was to try to say it, then he wouldn't be treated the same. That's probably the double standard.
Well,
is that a double standard?
This is what we're ignoring, though. The next day, if the girl sobers up, and then we ask her, "Did you want to have sex with that guy?" and if she says no, then that's great, right? But if she says the next day, "Yeah, I was so drunk, I had sex with that guy," and then they're like, "Well, did you want to?" and she's like, "I guess," then that's not great. You know, consent or not, it's how she feels when she's sober. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it very much depends on how she portrays it after. Did she want it or not
after the fact?
Yeah, but same with the guy. If the guy's drunk and this sober woman sleeps with him, next day he's like, "I don't know what the hell happened. I was so drunk. I think this girl slept with me. Did you want to?" No. That means she didn't have consent. Then that's great too. But if he was drunk, had sex with some sober girl, next day he's like, "Yo, dude, you were so drunk. Did you go home with that girl?" "Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we slept together." It's like, "How was it?" And then he's like all happy about it. Then that's not great, drunk or not.
Yeah.
It's
Unless he was like, "Oh, my butt hurts."
I didn't consent to that. Yeah.
I don't know why my butt hurts.
It's hard to walk today. Okay.
Okay. Oh, I actually got.
You gotta go?
No.
Oh.
I got a good subject
Okay.
to talk about
Okay.
since we're talking about like
Double
numbers
standard.
and stuff. It was about not really double standard. It's like completely different from what we're talking about.
Okay.
Have you ever heard the term? Have you ever heard the quote, "Less history, more mystery"? Less history.
No, I mean,
more
I haven't
mystery.
heard it. I'm trying to understand it, but explain.
So let's say in the context of like you're in a relationship, right? Because we were talking about like how many people you sleep with, right?
Okay.
So the quote is less history, more mystery. Would you want to know if your partner, how many people your partner has slept with?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, would
You'd
I
be okay
like,
with that?
Would I ask?
Not that you would ask, but would you like to know?
Okay.
That's a good question. Do you want to know how many people?
The
you slept?
older
It
I've
could be
gotten-
anywhere from 0 to 1,000,000.
No, I know. So here's the difference. When I was young, when I was, I guess, had a much lower number to 0, I wanted to know because it was part of the value, especially with like religion, with like, you know, no sex before marriage or whatever, or one person your whole life or whatever that is. That's like an ideal you have that your parents teach you, depending on your parents, but like religion teaches you like no sex before marriage, right?
Okay.
You get older, high school, university, if all of a sudden you become more sexually active, if your own personal number stays low, I feel like you have a tendency to still want to know about your partner.
Okay.
As your number increases and you understand that this norm about like number of sexual partners is something that, because you start looking at it yourself, like, are you judging yourself as your number goes up? So if your number goes up to a certain point where you're like, you don't think it matters now, it should matter how many people you've slept with, then you shouldn't worry about your partner either. Wouldn't you say? So I will say, let's just say, the older I've gotten and the more experience that I've gotten, I am less interested in knowing how many.
Yeah. So more mystery. That's what you're saying.
Mystery? I mean, sure.
Less history, more mystery. Do you want to know how many partners?
I'm more for the more mystery then, because I don't think it matters.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
the less
that's
history
true. It doesn't
part
matter.
only
If it
matters
wait,
when
if
you're
you're saying
younger.
if you're saying it does, if you're saying the number really doesn't matter, then you'd be okay with any number that she throws at you.
Yeah.
So that's not more mystery. It's like, I mean, in this case, you don't want to know.
Well, you gave me
You would rather not know.
No, the thing is, if they ask me, I wouldn't lie, and I'd share the number.
Yeah,
and tell
because
the
they
truth.
asked.
And then
Yeah.
because I've shared the info, I'd want to know too.
I think, okay, well, if they do ask,
Mhm.
I think it's fair to bring up, like, do you really want to know?
Yeah,
You
you're
like
right.
warn them.
You're right. That is a preemptive thing of like, it's like a little flag, like, hey, because I've asked, do you really want to know? It gives them an idea. But then that might like freak them out. They might think, okay, well, is it like 10 to 20, or is it 60 to 80, or is it 100 to 200? You know, like then they start wondering.
Well, no. Well, yeah. Well,
If you ask,
well,
do
that's
you
the
really want to
problem.
know? It's already too late. They asked. Because they asked,
No,
they
I-
already
well-
wanted to know.
Okay, let's say if they ask, and see, that's the issue, right? If they start thinking about that number, then that's sort of the problem. That's why I think the quote is really important, because maybe it's best to keep it a mystery, regardless if the person, the person might have zero, the person have more than, whatever. It
Well, you would know zero is easy. Like zero, it's not even.
Yeah,
It's
like
not
let's
even
say
a part of the
let's say I'm still a
conversation.
virgin. Let's say zero. Let's say someone's zero, and you still want to. You
You'd want to
still say
know.
that same question.
No, but you'd want to know though. If it's zero, right? And then this person gives you her virginity or his virginity. It's their first time. How let's say good do you expect that first time to be? It's probably not gonna be. It's gonna be so foreign to them. And then you're gonna want an explanation why. And then you find out after that they're a virgin. That's not how that's not how it works though. If someone's a virgin, you're gonna know before you have sex. It's not something you find out after. It's not-
Okay, no.
You know what I
it's just. We sort of got lost. Okay, well, for you, Justin, you right now, without talking about past you or future you,
Okay.
if you were, would you want to know the number, or would you not want to know the number?
I don't start the combo. No, I wouldn't.
Would you prefer not to know, or would you prefer to know?
I would prefer not to know.
Why?
Because I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
And
It
the
doesn't
only
matter.
reason why I
It
don't think
shouldn't
it
matter.
matters is because I start to put that value onto myself. And that only comes onto yourself once your number gets higher. Do you know what I mean? If you have,
Well, that's the problem. It shouldn't matter even when you're a low number or zero.
But you don't.
You're
know
saying that people should only be okay with it once they reach that magic number, that
No,
threshold.
it's
and I'm
not
like,
even that there should be okay with it, but it's because that's when they start to evaluate themselves. If you have a low number, like 0 to 5, let's say, is considered like low, I guess, to these days, to today's standard. If you have a number 0 to 5, and you know now Tinder how the way it is and how dating is now and how casual relationships are, you're gonna think, oh, I've only ever slept with, let's say, long-term relationships or something like that, and your number's low. It still matters to you. It still matters to you.
Why?
Because your number's low. Like, are you telling me that someone...
Why does it matter for the other? Why does it matter to know the other person's? Because your number is low.
Because it's insecurity.
Well,
It's
it's
insecurity.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're saying everyone.
If your number is low,
You're just saying when your number was low,
I used to want to know. Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to know then, because I look back now and I try to understand why. Why was it so important to me? Oh, because my number was low. Like, I thought it was something that, again, religion or whatever your upbringing teaches you, you put more value onto it because it's like sex at that point. When your number is low, then you think sex is more sacred. It's like more special.
So you were just explaining how you felt, how you would react, how you would feel.
That's me. But I think I can transfer that to how everybody would think in that scenario. Wouldn't you? Like,
I don't think so.
Can you give me an alternate
example?
explanation? Not an
well,
example,
because you're
but
assuming.
an alternate
Well,
example.
you're assuming that people with what you consider low numbers feel that same way. I mean, everyone's different.
Yeah.
Right?
But okay. So let's say, okay, are we gonna just rule out virgins in this conversation? That we just stick with one?
No, why?
Let's do with virgin, right? But you're gonna tell the person I'm still a virgin when you're dating. Like, there's no way there's no way you keep that information from your partner. Is that true? If you're a virgin, you will share that information no matter what the number is of the other person. You'll share that information. Do you know what I mean? There's no way you wouldn't. There's no way you wouldn't tell your partner. If you are a virgin,
I mean, you could hide it. you could see it there.
Okay, like 40-year-old virgin, right? 40-year-old virgin, that movie.
Yeah.
But he tells it anyway. It's a movie. Yeah, we don't really know.
I mean, you're assuming. Okay, I mean, you can't assume even virgins would even reveal. Their number.
Really? Can I not assume that? Like, what person wouldn't? What kind of like, I guess, normal.
Someone who doesn't want to give away the number of people they slept with.
But it's 0. There is no number of slip, like 0.
Exactly. Like, let's say, yeah.
DayDay
what if you don't want to be known as a what if I'm like 30? What if I'm like 35, 30? If I'm 40 years old and I don't want to give away that number, don't give the,
Okay, you're right. Let's think of that scenario. A man.
Not just that scenario. You could be a 20-year-old and still not want to give that number away, even if you're a virgin.
Okay, let's think of the number being 0 specifically. Okay. Your number's 0 and you start dating and you're interested in this girl and you want to sleep with her. Are we assuming that this guy wants to sleep with her or this girl wants to sleep with him? The virgin wants to sleep with the partner, right?
Sure.
And so do we also assume that that person knows that the other person's not a virgin or not?
No, because it can go both ways, right? Like, you don't. That's what I'm saying. Less history, more mystery.
Okay.
Do you want to know if this person is a virgin? Do you want to know anything at all? The number.
So what I'm saying, 2 virgins, let's say. Basically, obviously, this is like infinite amount of examples we can think of here. But if there are 2 virgins dating, and they want to sleep with each other.
Yeah.
I can't see any like real life reality scenario where they won't tell each other that they're both virgins. I can't think of a real life example where that would happen. There is no way they wouldn't tell each other.
If they were 40 and 40, yeah. Well,
if they were both
you're
virgins,
assuming.
Yeah,
you're assuming.
Of course, it's a big assumption. I don't know every scenario out there, but can I logically and rationally think that a virgin, any age, would not share that information even after they have sex? Let's say they don't even share it before having sex. Don't you think they'd say it after?
Yeah.
As like an explanation of like, so yeah, that was my first time.
Yeah.
And then they're like, me too. But then you found out the number. Or you're saying that they're gonna sleep with each other and never talk about it?
You could. Yeah, you could.
You could, but I just don't think it's likely ever to happen. It's such
Really?
a big.
Like
It's
you
such a,
think it now?
if you're a virgin, it's sacred to you. Sex is like special. It's like super special and sacred. If you haven't.
Well, you're assuming someone is that religious. What if they just couldn't get any?
Still, it's still special because of.
Let's say
because of
you're
its
someone
rarity.
who. How special is it if you're trying to give it away? You know what I mean? Like if you're someone who just hasn't gotten any
Right.
in your life,
Yeah.
you don't want to give away that number because you don't want to be seen as the guy that never had it. You know?
So okay, so we're talking about now a guy who's been trying to get laid,
Guy or
but
girl,
couldn't,
yeah.
or a girl, a guy or a girl who's been trying to get laid but couldn't.
This is a very specific scenario. I mean, I
It's
could see a lot of guys thinking this.
It's possible. It's possible. So would they share that information with the partner? Again, if they're just trying to give it away, is it even relationship building? Or are they just trying to sleep with anybody they meet at a bar? Like, it's very nuanced, where it's like, the scenario really makes a difference. If they're dating...
Well...
It's dating, it's the next step in their relationship, it's special. If he's just trying to get laid at a bar with anyone that he picks up, and just gets rejected each time, that's different. Are we talking about two virgins who go to a bar and meet for the first time and decide to sleep with each other to lose their virginity?
No, I'm just saying, like in a relationship.
Okay, relationship.
Even
Yeah.
that question, that's what the question's asking about too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're a virgin, do you want the other person to know that you were a virgin? Do you want to know how many people that other person slept with?
Yeah. So
that's what the question is.
there's
So
two-
you
but-
can't
so
just
there's-
you can't rule out zero.
There's two parts of the question then, right? It's not one or the other. You just said less history or more mystery. Is that the way because the
Less
comment,
history. No, you can't. It's less history, more mystery. So less history is you don't want to know their history.
Yes.
You want more mystery. Do you get it?
Well, it's not that you want it, it's just given. If you don't know, it's a given that you're gonna get more mystery. I don't know if you necessarily want it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Well, yeah. What are you trying to explain?
There's a difference of okay, here okay. I know.
The quote is less history, more mystery.
Yeah, it's one sentence. I don't necessarily. So what I'm saying is, when I hear that, I don't get which direction is it trying to pull you of which one you actually desired.
It's not either or. It's the same.
It's the same scenario.
It's the same.
But
Yeah.
are we saying it's desired or? So there's a difference between wanting to know, and also there's a difference between wanting to not know. And there's also a difference.
So you want to.
Yeah.
So the question is whether you want to know or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But less history,
But-
more mystery is automatically
thing.
less information, right?
Yeah.
So
like you
now
would
you're
be
asking,
happier.
do I want it or not?
Yeah. But we were talking about, like before,
Yeah.
you were trying to disregard 0 as the number, but it shouldn't be disregarded. I'm saying that's included.
No, I'm
Does
saying,
that really matter? It
I'm
doesn't really
saying
matter. Sure. You
0,
wanna-
1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5. I'm saying, realistically speaking, I think anyone with a number between 0 to 5 will want to know. And yes, I'm speaking from like my own kind of bias, but I can't imagine anyone from 0 to 5 not wanting to know.
Why?
Because in today's society, those numbers are considered low. So if the standard is more than that, they're gonna want.
But you don't know. So let's say you're in a relationship. You don't know what's more desirable to the other person.
Okay. But you know the truth. It's not like you're gonna omit truth or hide something just because you think it's gonna be less desirable, right?
My question is why you think that people who have that number, that low number, want to know more.
Because the number to them is low, which means the act of sex to them is more rare. So, but because of that, there is this sense of like still that it's more special. The number is more special when the number is low. But as the number increases, it becomes less significant.
So I think if it was me, if it was you that had the low number, or if a person was a low number,
Sure.
why, and you had a great relationship,
Yeah.
isn't it better to not know? Because knowing that that person has more, or knowing that that person has more can change the relationship dynamic.
So
that's the risk you take. That's
Yeah.
the risk you take when you ask that question.
Your question is it better? But what I'm answering is, would they want to know? Even if it's better or not.
But that's the question. That's
No,
the question.
but
Do you want to know or not?
But that's what I'm saying. A person with a low number, better or not for their relationship, they're gonna want to know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's in them to want to know. Even if it's gonna be better or worse for their relationship, they're gonna want to know because their number is low. That's what I think. This is
Okay,
just
that's what you think. I disagree. You know why? Because
okay.
they take the risk
Mhm.
of that person having a higher number, and if it really matters to them, then it changes the relationship dynamic, and
yeah,
you lose out on that relationship.
Do you?
You could.
You could.
It changes.
You're right. You could. But then you find out about yourself that it mattered. If you start to think, okay, first let's just read the comments that I've been ignoring. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Dan says, is that because of age or the number? That was a little while back, Dan, sorry. And then DayDay said, who even keeps track these days? I don't think I ever wanted to know. Dan says, I think wanting or not wanting to know has nothing to do with the number. DayDay says, even back when I was 0 to 5, because it wasn't really that important to me. I guess I'm an exception. Lol. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's an exception, man. I think that's just you.
So DayDay, when you were 0 to 5, you're saying then in your relationship, you didn't want to know how many your girl slept with at the time. Is that what you're saying? When you can answer that, that'd be great. So, Mike, what I'm saying about this scenario, because it's very different too. If somebody lost their virginity with casual flings, or if they lost their virginity with just relationships, right? Like, it's very different. If I, let's say, when I was young, was a virgin, and there was this pressure that I had to lose my virginity, let's say by high school or university, and then I lost it that way, simply for the sake of losing it, but to who I lost it with wasn't important to me, it's very different than for me, who I lost it in a relationship. Then that means to me that it's more, the act of sex is more special because it didn't it mattered who I had it with.
Yeah, but yeah, I understand your experience.
Right, but
yeah,
I've never asked any of my girlfriends how many guys she slept with.
Yeah,
that doesn't tell
see
me
exactly that.
but
DayDay's a good example
but
because
that
you're
doesn't-
giving me your example and DayDay's giving me his example. So that's
Yeah.
50-50 already between anecdotal examples, right?
Right, but again, we're not equal samples. Like, we're not. He might have lost his differently from me.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone has different experiences. I agree with that.
Yes. Okay. So
you can't assume that the rest of the population feels the same way you do. No,
I don't. I was specifically saying, if it's someone with a low number. Okay, I didn't mention the whole thing until later. I'm saying if someone was only sleeping with people in relationships, right? Like things of like meaning where it's the next step in their relationship, they're building a relationship.
Okay.
If that's the only time they've ever had sex with partners and their number is low, I feel like they're going to want to know. If their number is low, though, you're right, with DayDay, who never asked his girlfriends, whether it be early girlfriends or later girlfriends, number, and his number was still low, that just means it never mattered to him who he slept with or how many he slept with. The number never mattered. to DayDay. But to me,
Yeah.
it did matter when I was
Yeah, to you.
younger, when my number was
Yeah.
lower, because it was with relationships. Like,
Okay.
and so comparatively, when my number was low, I wanted to know, even like your question was, is it gonna ruin the dynamic of the relationship and you lose out on the relationship? But do you really though? If you wanted to know, in your heart or in your mind, you wanted to know, are you gonna hold yourself back from asking? Is that what you're saying? Is
No wrong. I'm just saying, I'm asking what the preference is, right? I'm not saying it's wrong to know.
It's wrong to know. No.
That's why I'm asking
No,
how
I
you
don't
feel
think
about it,
anything's
right?
right or wrong. I don't think one person is right or wrong. I just think the wanting part. The wanting part is like
To know, yeah.
subconscious. It's not like you have to think about it and decide, do I want it or not. You kind of just know if you want to know or not.
Yeah.
There's no like evaluation. So as
If
soon as
you want to know, if you want to know, you
Yeah.
have to be okay with whatever number they give you.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
But some people aren't.
Exactly. So the people who aren't okay with it, that's where the quote really helps. Less history, more mystery.
So
because some people get focused on that number and it's like, oh, they have to be under this number or this certain
Well,
number.
here's the thing.
Which is fair to have.
Here's
But
the-
what if you have such an amazing relationship and you don't know the number yet?
That's the thing. Okay, well, that's just thing. You just said for the people where the number would change their opinion about their partner,
Yeah.
they should choose to hold back what they want to know. That's what you just said, right?
Yeah.
So they're going against what they want to know. The desire's already there, but they're going to hold it
Of course.
back
Yeah.
for the sake of the
Okay.
relationship.
This is where this person needs to think about, needs to take some time to think about how much they care about this person.
Well, that's the thing.
Like, yeah.
If somebody wants to know, they've been together for a while, awesome relationship, and they think, you know what? I'm curious how many my partner has had. And he's going to think, or she's going to think, would that number affect how I think about them? And they're going to be like...
Exactly. That's why you have to ask yourself that kind of question.
Mm-hmm. You should, right?
Yeah.
So then you're like, if the answer is yes, I'm going to feel differently about my partner.
Yeah.
Then you have to think, am I willing to lose my partner? Or like, is this something that's going to cause this relationship to break?
Is this a deal breaker?
A deal breaker, right? If the answer is yes, you're telling me someone's still not going to proceed with wanting to know? Because
they have to think. If that number really matters and they're willing to give up the relationship, then they can ask the number.
Yeah.
Like but if you feel that you want to keep this person, but if you find out that number is too high, that you would have to break up with them, even though you know they're the perfect one, and that's the only issue, then they shouldn't know.
But
opinion.
You called it a deal breaker.
Yeah.
But a deal breaker is something you have to have in a relationship, isn't it?
If you find out.
A deal break, like.
This is where the thing gets pretty this is where you have to think about whether you want to go through with it or not. And this is where it's hard, obviously, right? And this is good conversation.
If
it was me, it's just obviously you just think about
do you want to speak in like your personal example or not? Do you want to still keep it general kind of sounding?
Why? Do you have a personal
I've talked about me specifically. Like
okay.
I don't know if you want to talk. You don't have to. I'm not forcing you. It kind of leads more to understand. Kyle's here now too if he wants to join the combo, but
what up, man? Have you ever heard the quote, less history, more mystery? Kyle?
You're directing that at me?
Yes, Dan.
Yeah. Have you ever heard that
and
quote?
Dan? Less history, more mystery.
Yeah.
You're talking to a very drunken person right now.
Okay, maybe.
Okay.
Well, Dan just said, isn't a deal breaker when there is something that causes the relationship to end. Yes.
Yeah.
A deal breaker to me is like everything could be amazing, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the one. But a deal breaker is that one thing that you impose on yourself to say, okay, if this deal breaker comes through, or is fulfilled or whatever,
Yeah.
that's it. The deal is done. I'm breaking it off. Like, it's over.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you were,
how are you gonna call someone perfect if they have the deal breaker? How is this
well,
one
you don't
the
know.
one?
You don't know. You
That's
don't know
why
if they
you
have the
should
deal
know.
breaker.
Shouldn't you can't say somebody's the one if you can't answer your deal breaker, right? How can you say someone is perfect when you don't even know the answer to your deal breaker yet?
Well, that's why you have to ask yourself the question: how important really is this to me? You know?
Yeah.
Do I really
you're
want
right.
to know this number?
You're right. Brandon, I
If
think
you
that's
find
Brandon. He said you guys literally just defined what a deal breaker is. I mean, yeah.
Well, what Dan was saying is a deal breaker is, what was it? What was his definition of a deal
It
breaker?
is something that causes the relationship to end.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what if you don't? What if
Like
you don't,
no
what if
matter
you don't
how
reach it?
no
What
matter
if you
how
don't find
good
out?
the relationship was going,
Mhm.
like, you crack that deal breaker, oh man, it's off.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, here, I'll give you a scenario, Kyle. If you have a chance, you don't even know what the chance is of if you have a box, you open this box, and it could be a deal breaker or not a deal breaker, and you don't know what the chances are of getting this deal breaker or not, would you open the box just to know whether there's a deal breaker at all? Would you open that box?
I mean, that sounds like a game show. Like, I mean, if you're describing it as a game show, then I have nothing to lose. And
Well,
then
you lose the
I'm gonna
relationship.
risk it all. I'm gonna risk what? What am I risking? What's going on here?
You risk the relationship.
Just answer.
The relationship with what? With who? With what?
Okay, no. Okay,
Okay,
hold
FJ.
on. Mike, I know you. Okay, in the answer of the box, right? I'm going very technical with what a deal breaker is.
Sorry, I just jumped in here at the
No,
middle.
I'm glad you did. I'm just saying, anybody's list of deal breakers are important to them. That's how they become a deal breaker. That's when you have a list of requirements that you're looking for, and I'm like, these have to be met, because if they're not, this isn't gonna work. There is no way you're gonna just scratch off things off that list and omit it from what you want to know, because it's already something you've defined even before you knew the person. It's a deal breaker.
Yeah, exactly. So
you're gonna open the box.
Yeah. Well, that's assuming you want to know, right?
What's in the box?
But once it's a deal breaker,
we already talked about the person that wants to know.
No.
If you find out that you're okay with breaking up with this person, you'll still ask for the number.
You just said you'll want to know the deal breaker, assuming that the guy wants to know. But the fact that it's already a deal breaker means he wants to know. Doesn't it?
I gotcha. I know yes, I understand.
Okay. So if it's a deal breaker to begin with, he already wants to know. Like, there's no changing his mind because it's a deal breaker. Because it's not a deal breaker if he doesn't want to know.
I gotcha. I think I know what you're trying to say.
Okay.
You're saying that he already wants to know.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
You're thinking there's a way where it's a deal breaker for them, but they don't want to know?
Yeah.
How is it
like,
a deal
let's
breaker
say,
then? How is the number a deal breaker?
Here, I'll give you the scenario. Someone has a low number.
Yeah.
And you don't know whether this person's a high number or low number, and it matters to you.
Yeah.
Or it matters, but it doesn't matter.
To me?
No, I'm saying for this person. Okay. This person, I'm this hypothetical person.
Hypothetical person.
And you're thinking, you're put in this position whether you can ask this person or not, right? You know that if you ask this question, how can I word this? If you find out the number and it's too high, then it would change the relationship forever.
Yes.
But if But if you just don't know, you could just go on with life.
Yes.
Perfectly happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
either of the people don't care about the number?
Well, that's the question you have to ask yourself, right? How much do you care about this number?
Yeah. I think that if someone says they care about the number,
Then they will ask for the number, obviously.
to the point
Yeah.
to the point where they say it'll change the relationship, they're gonna ask. If then they realize, okay, but everything's amazing or whatever,
I just don't want to know.
you don't
Some
want to
people are
know.
like that.
And
yeah.
that, yeah.
If you know that it could change, if you ask the question, if you know that it could change a relationship, if you know,
Mhm.
then maybe you'd be happier. Like ignorance is bliss.
I'm kind of with Mike on this one. I'll probably lean to the category of
Not wanting to
I'd
know.
rather not want to know.
Okay. Dan says
I'll be with that.
Dan says
Yeah.
unless he treats it as Schrodinger's cat, where the answer is both.
Schrodinger's cat. Okay.
And then Dan says where the deal breaker isn't strong enough, risk the loss of the relationship. Where the deal breaker isn't strong enough, risk the loss of the relationship. Okay. This is what I think. Again, it's only what I think. Doesn't really matter. If someone in their head thinks
Matters.
that the number will change the dynamic of a relationship, right? It's a deal breaker, let's say. If it's significant enough to change a relationship, I don't think you can separate that from the desire to know. That's my understanding. Because if it's significant enough, like, let's put me in the scenario. I'm not myself. I'm going to use the word I. I know that if I find out my partner's number, it could very much well change how our relationship is run.
Yeah.
That means that number is important.
No. Does it?
Does it?
Does it mean that that number is important?
I think so. Because if it's enough to change the relationship, the way I think about the relationship, that means to me it's important to me. Because if it's not...
But you could have not asked.
Yeah, but if I don't know, I'm always going to want to know.
Well, whose issue is that, really?
Exactly. That's what I mean, though. If I'm lying to myself, be like, okay, I know that if I find out that person's number, it could very much well change how I feel about them. Let me just hold back and not find out. And you're gonna tell me, knowing that I admitted to myself how important that number is enough to affect the relationship, I'm just gonna keep holding myself back for the sake of the relationship? Is that being true to myself?
Well, this is an assumption that you don't think
there's
about
a big
it.
if. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
That's what I mean, though. I think if it's enough...
I'm with Mike on this one.
If it's enough for somebody to feel like it would change how they think about the relationship, I don't think I can separate the desire to know from that. That's just the way I think my mind works then. It's like...
Mind works then? What do you mean?
How my mind would work. Like, the box thing you just said. If I open this box...
What's in the box?
Yeah.
What's in the box?
You want to know
What's in the box?
If I don't open the box, everything's perfect. If I open the box, I run the risk of ruining this relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a terrible thing to do then.
But that's
right?
But that's a box. You don't know what's in the box.
Yeah, you don't.
This specific knowing how many people my partner slept with is now become a judging thing in my head of what I think I value.
Yeah, exactly.
So what? Okay. I have to think about the words I have to use. This is what I meant about how the number plays a role. My own number plays a role.
Yeah.
Right? If with DayDay, his number's low, but he has a different kind of understanding, let's say with the act itself, or how many people and who you sleep with, that's different. Okay. I think in my very specific scenario where it's like, if my number was low and I value the sacredness of who you sleep with, that means if my number is low, I'm gonna want my partner to also have a low number.
Yeah. So in that scenario,
In that
you want to
scenario,
know the number,
that I want to know. And
right?
then I
Because we talked
realize,
about it.
and then I realize, what if my partner has a way higher number than me? Right?
Okay.
We're still thinking about now when my number was low. So I'm gonna be
Okay.
like, my number is low. I want to know if her number is low, but she very well could still have a very high number. And once I know that,
Why
it's
is that
gonna
bad?
change how I feel about this relationship. It could end us. Yes,
Mhm.
you're right. I need to like check myself. Like, this is something I really need to know. Is it something that's really gonna bother me? Right? That's what you're.
Mhm.
Okay, we're there so far. So, withholding that information, like just not asking, so to save the sake of the relationship, in my head, this is how I think, isn't as good and like safe and secure and like special as if I were to understand that I'll ask, get the number, and then realize for myself that the number doesn't matter. Does that make sense?
What do you mean?
I should know that the number doesn't matter, knowing the number, rather than the number won't matter if I just choose not to know.
You don't think you could reach that conclusion without knowing?
I don't think it's the same like level of like personal acceptance, like knowing who you are. Maturity. I don't think it's the same level of maturity.
Why?
Because you're accepting something you don't know just to avoid whatever struggle. But the other one is
Well, you're assuming that you're avoiding the struggle. I'm saying you could get to that level of security without even knowing. Do you think that's possible?
if the number ever mattered to you, no.
Well, you're saying yeah,
Right?
if the number mattered to you, then you would get the number, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But if you were withholding and knowing the number can change the relationship,
Yeah.
don't you think it's possible to reach that level of security and be okay with not knowing, as opposed to what you were saying before was you're always holding back and you're always thinking the number. It's like the assumption that this person will never change. But it's possible that the person can change, no?
So you're just thinking through time you're gonna stop wanting to know? Is that what we're saying?
Possible, yeah.
So
I mean, we're just thinking about the choice, whether you want to know or not, right?
yeah.
The assumption that you made was that this person will not change and they'll always want to know. If someone wants to know, they can ask and they'll get the number and whatever happens, happens, right? But if you feel like okay, I'll give you a very like a journey. Like if you know that it would change your relationship if you found out the number. So you decide not to, and then you decide and then you realize it doesn't really matter and you get secure, then you can live a happier life then.
Okay.
Oh, no. You could probably live the same kind of life whether you knew or not, because you can still grow if you find out the number and then you get over it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
either way, that's why either way it doesn't really matter. You could reach both ways, but there's still that person who you could run the risk of reaching that, getting the number and then having to break up. But then that's the deal breaker. Then you would have to want to know, right? It's confusing.
Let me.
But
just-
the thing that I was
using
Let me
the
read
thing
chat.
that I
Can we
was
catch up on chat real quick?
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah,
Okay,
Bring
so-
up chat anytime.
What's chat saying?
Brandon says, then is it really a deal breaker? Dan said, can it initially be a deal breaker and then change over time? And then Brandon says, so then the number never mattered to begin with. Dan says, agree with Mike. That's what I meant. I think it's possible to reach that point where values and thoughts could change. Yes.
Yeah.
Values and thoughts can change. Yes, for sure.
Yes.
Is that the point we're trying to make tonight?
No,
No,
there was no
it's
point.
just-
It's the scenario
Yeah,
of
no
like, let's just imagine somebody who wants to know, right? And your suggestion is this your suggestion in all accounts whoever wants to know should wait.
No. If they want, no, that the question was whether you want to know or not.
Growing.
Not, you should not know.
No, not you should not know.
You should
but
try not to
if
know.
you want to know, well, all the scenarios are pointing to when a person wants to know. Because if you just don't want to know, you'll never ask. It's not even an issue.
Yeah.
If two people get together and neither of them it matters to them, it'll never be an issue. They'll never talk about it.
Yeah.
It only becomes something of relevance to talk about if one or both of those people want to know, right?
Yeah.
And so once we're in that scenario, now we know one of them or both of them wants to know, and now they have to evaluate
You ask
themselves.
yourself the question.
Yeah, they have to evaluate themselves. Okay, if I know, will this change the relationship? If someone says no, they can ask. If the other person says yes, wait. That's what you're saying? What are we suggesting here? I know it's just a scenario, but I think we should take a stance. What should we what do we recommend here? If you want to know, and you know that it will change the dynamic of your relationship, I recommend you what? Wait?
No, what does waiting imply? Doing nothing.
Well,
right?
no, growing with the relationship and finding out whether or not it really matters to you. Wait before asking, I mean.
Yeah, you should be doing that. You should be doing that.
Okay.
Because you know that if you find out that number, you have to find out how important that number is.
Yeah.
To you.
See, so like I
If
said,
you-
when I was young and I wanted to know, it's because the number meant something to me, and it would change the way I think about the person if that number was high or whatever. And as I grew older, and yes, as my number went up too, I started to look at it in my sense of like, well, is it fair that I be judged by my past? Is it fair? Like, I'm now judging a person's number. This is a person that I know now, that I love, that I spend time with, that I value in my current relationship, and now I'm gonna judge this person based on their history before they even knew me. Is that fair? That's something everyone needs to understand. No, it's not. Like, to base any kind of deal breaker on someone's past before they even knew you isn't fair.
I would say
But anyone can do it.
I would argue it's fair.
Okay.
But the deal breaker thing, I would say, could be stretched, because if you're talking about people with extended life experiences, all of a sudden, like someone who is 15 years old doing all this some crazy shit and is 16 years old, that paints a picture of a certain life experience, while someone who is 35 years old with they may have experienced something similar, like let's say similarly traumatic, all of a sudden it's different. And I think that we would hope that if whoever is judging is open to that, like the differences between those two things that I just described.
Okay, you okay. Bunch of stuff happened 15 and younger, then they're 16. You meet them, you're deciding if you want to pursue a relationship with them, and then you realize you want to know about their history. Yes, you're deciding if you want to have a relationship with them. Mike, now I gotta have to go back to your example. Let me catch up on chat, and then I have a question for you. It says, Dan says, yes, but the question is, can you grow in both scenarios, or is there a better route to take? Brandon says, not always. There's no one size fits all. Everyone's different. Some people who choose to ask later might grow resentment if they are low and their partner is high. Oh, if they are low, partner is high.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so Mike, your scenario was this person is perfect, right? How do you know? And how long are people waiting? If two people get in a relationship, they just started dating, right? They're just getting to know each other. And to one of those people, the number matters. Do you think that person's gonna wait before asking? This person's perfect. You're saying this person's perfect. Doesn't that take time and growth to figure out when someone's perfect for you? Takes time.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 year, 2 year, 3 years.
Sure.
And if this is a question you wanted to know, you're telling me you wouldn't have asked in those 3 years already?
You would have.
You would have asked right away, right?
Yeah, because it matters to them.
So how do you know a person's perfect if you just ask them in the first week?
Yeah. So I don't get what you're asking.
So are we because you just said if you find out that number, it will change the dynamic of the relationship. In my head, I'm like, oh wow, it feels like you've already established like this person could be the one that you marry, the one, right?
Oh, I mean,
doesn't that take time
perfect
to...
was a really vague thing when I was saying.
Okay,
I was saying this is a really good relationship, sure.
Okay, because but if in a relationship where two people get together and that number matters, it's one of the first things they ask. Wouldn't you
Okay,
agree?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that you're really risking losing. If it's a deal breaker in the beginning, it's something that you value wanting to know.
Yeah. So you ask.
So
yeah.
you ask, and then it changes whether or not you want to keep that person. So I guess, okay, so there was no risk of ruining this perfect relationship because it wasn't even there.
Yeah.
It wasn't even established yet. Like you were still in the evaluating purpose to see if someone is who you want them to be, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this scenario, in this now reaching the fact that we haven't spent a year, 2 years, 3 years together yet, we've only started dating for a week, and you now figure out, I kind of want to know how many people they slept with.
Yeah.
Is it my right to ask? Is that where we're standing now?
Yeah. Didn't we say, like, we agreed that if you want to know, you can ask? Well, that's what the question is, whether you want to know or not. And if you already decided you want to know, then you ask.
Yes, but you just said, is it better not to? Because this person could be perfect and could be amazing, and not knowing, everything else would be great. Everything else would be where it needs to be. That was your caveat to that, like that the relationship otherwise would be perfect.
Yeah.
But you don't know that. Like you don't know perfection outside of this one number over a week. Like you can't figure out someone's gonna be your future and your forever in a week, can you?
No, yeah, I agree with you.
So the question is less history, more mystery. Good or bad, right?
Not good or bad. What would you do? Good or bad?
It's just
a very
it's
subjective.
just a
Yeah, okay,
choice.
yeah. Good or bad?
I think if the number is out of curiosity and only curiosity, it's fine. If the number you don't want to know, it's fine. If you want to know the number and it makes a difference, that's still fine. I think it's personal to whoever.
Okay. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
You're fine.
But I think if we were gonna take a stance of like, to anyone out there where the number matters, I will say it shouldn't.
Hey, you say we gonna take a stance? Hey, you can take a stance.
You can take a stance.
I may not be with you on your
Sponsored by
stance.
Stance Socks.
That's why I just said.
Don't be saying we gonna take a stance.
That's
I'm not with you on your
That's
stance.
why I just said.
Okay?
I think. I said if we, like, in general, someone's gonna have to make an opinion about this comment, then I said I think. I'm not saying we think. I'm not speaking on behalf of you two, obviously.
I mean, not obviously, but okay. We
just
understand it's you now.
How is that not obvious when I say I think? Anyway,
No, you said we.
yeah,
You said
I
we.
said if we
You said
have to
we.
take a
Yes.
stance, if we, like in
That's why I
general,
spoke up.
guys, don't be stupid.
Hey,
Wow.
hey, I'm just poking you because
know.
I'm drunk
Stop.
and I like to
Stop.
poke you.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, but it's true though. You put your first sentence said we, and then you said I think. You're falling onto I think, even though you said we if we were to take a stance. right?
Okay, I say we.
You framed.
I say we, and we are I.
Yeah.
Are in us.
Guy,
Me.
guys,
So the
you.
statement
can we-
should have been
if I want to take a
if
stance.
I were
get
to
it.
take a
I
stance.
get it.
Correct. Yes.
What I meant with the words, if we have to take a stance. Like,
What do you
if
mean by
each-
that?
If each of us now has to look at this statement, less history, more mystery, and make a decision
okay.
or not of a each of us has to make one, has to make our own stances. If we each
Okay.
have to make a stance, maybe I should have used the word each. I think now I'm saying what my stance would be. Okay, I wasn't saying I'm speaking all of us for everybody out there. If you brought up the statement, and I'm saying, rather than just saying everything's okay, I do think it's important for us to take our stances, our individual stances. Otherwise, why did we have this discussion? Just for the sake of it? Like, we have opinions,
Yeah, man.
right?
Why not, man?
Well, you should stand by our opinions, I think.
Well,
I
what if
stand
your
by my
is
opinion.
No opinion.
Okay.
You can have no opinion.
Sure. My opinion.
I'm super hard-headed. I will stand by my opinion.
My opinion.
Who wants to know what my opinion is?
I will ask you after I make mine. Thank you. I've been trying to make mine for like 2 minutes. Is whoever thinks out there that their number that number matters, whether your number be 0 or whether your number be high, I suggest that you evaluate and understand that the number doesn't matter. It's how your partner, if your partner shares the value of that as the same way as you do, if you share the value in sex, sleeping with each other, partners, sexual partners, equally, then the number itself doesn't matter. What matters is, do you share the significance of sex similarly, equally? That's what matters. The number itself is just like a statistic or whatever from the past, and how the person understands it with you currently. Because like someone can have a past, a really bad, dark past, but it doesn't reflect how they actually feel about it with you. That's why the number might not matter, or shouldn't matter. But it's very nuanced. Yeah, it depends on who you're with. If you know that the person you are dating right now is a porn star, if you know their previous job was a porn star, some people might not even decide ever to date a porn star just because they know their profession. Others might. In this scenario, you two, I ask you two. But Kyle, if you want to make your stance first, go ahead, your opinion. But if you had an opportunity, you start dating someone that you really like, and then you find out that they were a porn star before, do you want to know or not the number? Will it make a difference?
Okay, I'm sorry. So I'm dating a girl, and I find out she's a porn star. And you're saying there's what's the number?
There is no number. You don't know
I think when you thought, I think
No,
when
like you just
when you're dating
mentioned this number. I was like, what is this number? What is the number that we're talking?
That's the point. You don't know. You just know what she did before.
Oh, okay. So okay. So I meet this girl. I like her. We hit it off. We're getting together really good. And then I find out she's a porn star. Well,
or
that
she was a porn star.
She was? Okay. So she was a porn star. You know, it throws a curveball into things, obviously.
Yeah.
And you already know the number.
I don't know what the number is that
So
y'all
it's
are
pretty
talking
high.
about. What is this?
The number, how many people this person has slept with.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So
you find out she's a porn star.
So if I find out if the girl that I like and she likes, I'm assuming she likes me, and so we're getting together.
Yes, and she used to be.
And this is nice. She's a porn star.
Used to be.
Used to be. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Different.
Used to be.
No, it's very
used
different.
To be is.
It's very different.
Doesn't matter.
Currently versus used to be is very different.
Well, to me, it doesn't change the number. Unless you're saying she's working right now, and the number is changing as we're talking.
It could.
talking.
It could.
You imagine?
It could. If she's
Is that what
currently-
you're telling me?
If she's currently a porn star and she still works as a porn star,
And
very
she's
well.
on a scene like right at that point, and the number is going up as we're talking. Okay, fine.
on,
well,
man.
well, what I will say, I will
This
say,
is the right time to talk about this.
I will say that that's rough. That's rough for a
That's
guy to
rough.
hear. That's rough for a guy to hear if you're
That's
hitting it off with a girl, and then all of a sudden the girl's a porn star, and you're like, oh, okay, well. And then all of a sudden, I guess the magical number in your head, which ideally is 0, goes to, you know, not 0. Let's say a porn star. I don't know, 50 plus. So all of a sudden you're like, that probably doesn't feel great for the guy.
No.
Yeah, or the girl.
Am I answering the question well?
I'm sure. No,
Or-
I'm asking for you. Like you're saying for the guy. I'm just. Where's your stance?
Oh,
on
for
that?
me, it all depends on the actual connection I make with this girl.
Yeah.
Like if it was really good,
Yeah.
and I really connected with this girl,
Yeah.
then honestly, like she might be with 100 plus guys, but maybe because of the connection we made, the connection we have means more than her and the 100 guys. Maybe.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
a
possible.
And I wouldn't really care that much.
Yeah.
That's my answer to that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Dan says, for the original saying, he enjoys the mystery. You enjoy it? You enjoy the mystery. Did the number ever matter? Okay, like, can we ask, like, specifically to everybody? Like, we know now, DayDay, the number never mattered. I've said, to me, the number used to matter, not anymore. Does anyone else want to share? Or nah? Doesn't matter.
For me, I mean, like I just said, like it all depends on the situation, but it doesn't really matter to me.
Okay. Dan says, would choose the mystery because the number doesn't matter. Okay. So, but my question was, did it ever matter? To anyone who's like more religious, I guess, growing up. Never mattered to you. Okay. Dan, I know, not to put you on the spot, but like, was your first relationship super long? And did you already know each other's numbers? You know what I mean? So it never mattered to you, but you already knew? You know what I'm saying? Was there ever a part where you're like younger, where it could have, well, I guess, yeah, in your scenario, it never mattered to you. That's it, yeah, because of your specific timeline, it never came up to matter. Even after the relationship, you reached a point where it's like you already understood that it never mattered. So I guess. Anyone else?
Yeah.
No? I mean, it doesn't matter. This came up. Like, is someone facing this dilemma? Or you just read about it and you're like, this is a good one to talk about.
Wait, what, me?
Yeah.
Oh no, because there was something in the video that the guy, they were talking about how the double standards. The guy talking about.
Oh,
the guy talking about the
sleeping with a
yeah.
lot of people, but then when the girl
Yeah.
sleeps with a lot of people,
Yeah.
they're just, well, it wasn't about just sleeping with a lot of people. It was just dating around.
Yeah, and then you
that
ask
assumes you
what-
sleep.
yeah.
Yeah, if you sleep with.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And then
like,
yeah, it's related to that. That's why I thought about it.
If the guy, but yeah, but there's the connotation of like, are you celebrating the number or not? You know, if the number is not something that you flex, then there's a little bit more significance to your sexual relations than just the number, you know? Like, if you're not just throwing sex around because you like the number being high to flex it, that means generally sex is more like special to you, where that wouldn't be an issue. And then you can gauge it on your actual current relationship. Like, is it something you two want to talk about or discuss. Dan says, never mattered to him. From 0 to 1, knew before. Afterwards, knew after, or didn't know. All cases never mattered to me. Like, you talked about it after because the other person wanted to know? Like, how does it even come up in a conversation if it never matters? Or does it just come up out of curiosity, but it doesn't really matter? Is that what we're talking about? Because that's another level of, like acceptance. For one thing, someone cannot know and it doesn't matter. Or someone can know and it still doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean?
Or someone doesn't know and they doesn't matter.
I think I fall into that category.
Yeah. That doesn't know and doesn't matter was the first
I don't
one.
give a shit, to be honest. Like, I think it reaches a point where you either feel like there's something nice and that has nothing to do with the past and you just go with it. And like, why does your past have to dictate how I feel about you?
Right.
So I don't know. It's a very interesting question for sure.
Yeah.
And you can only it's also a question asked to very few people. Like, this is a very niche question.
Really?
Oh, is it?
I don't
like
know.
all
Like,
relationships kind of face this at some point.
Maybe. But again, like, obviously, I don't know much about this, so I'm trying to like paint a picture in my head.
Oh,
and
right. But okay, so
if this is a common thing, then
so
then I may have to think harder.
So you're right. I'm trying to think. Maybe there's relationships. Not maybe. Likely, there's got to be relationships out there where they never talk about it, as like the number itself. Like, and you're saying too that that's very much possible still when the number's low, or if they're a virgin, they might just never talk about it, and then they just start having sex and never even talk about it. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's possible.
Yeah.
That's possible.
It is possible.
I think it's unlikely, but
is it?
I think it's unlikely for a person with a relatively low or zero number, and then they start talking about either having sex or they've already started having sex. I do think it's a topic that will likely come up with somebody who has a relatively low or zero number.
Are you assuming it matters to them? It might not matter to them, no? Even if they have a low number.
Yeah, it might not matter. It doesn't have to matter. I just think they'll talk about it though.
Oh.
It's like a virgin not saying that they're a virgin to their partner that they finally choose to have sex with is odd to me. That's just like, it's just odd to me that someone would not hide, but like intentionally withhold that information. If they've never had sex with someone before and they finally have sex with someone and then not tell them that they were there first, I just think that's really unlikely and odd. Right?
Okay.
No?
We don't know. I don't know what the stats are.
I'm not asking for stats.
I mean, I kind of agree with you, but I also am wondering where this conversation is going. Like, what was the beginning of this, and why? What?
We were talking about double standards.
Oh, there's a double standard here.
Well, no, it kind of segued from double standard of like a man's number and a woman's number and how society regards it for a man versus how society regards it for a woman, into now a more personal take on relationships and when a person wants to know or not. It was a segue. It was a segue into this conversation.
Okay.
Where are we going with it? Nowhere. It was just brought up. No, we're talking about it. And it's a good topic. I do think it's a good topic to talk about.
Yeah.
Learnable, teachable stuff. Anyway, anyone else want to say anything? I think that's a good point to like wrap it up. This is way longer than I thought it was going to be.
I got another quote. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't have another quote.
Save it for next week.
want to talk about this.
Just kidding.
I thought maybe this would be like maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes. We are now at 2 hours and 13 minutes. But no, thanks, Mike. That was a good quote to bring up to talk about. It's cool. We have very like stances from like all these different directions in chat. Thanks, Dan and DayDay and Brandon, and yeah, Kyle, Mike for being in the chat too. But does anyone else want to say anything though before I wrap it up? Good.
Yeah.
This is BrackCast 70. Thank you guys. We'll see you. Next Thursday we'll be back on for 71. Have a good night, Dan. Thank you, and everyone else. Have a great week, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.